Hello everybody, my name is The Worm, and I am going to be playing Raging Loop today. It is in fact spooky month, and I've decided to try and play something that is appropriately spooky, and this seems to be a good target for me, I'd say. I got this on a sale quite a ways back by now, but I just never got around to playing it. And having recently started to do Let's Plays, I've decided, hey, why not give this a shot? It's in the same vein as my previous Let's Plays thus far. I've mostly done visual novels. And so I think the stars have aligned, and it's finally time for me to give this a shot. I really don't know anything about this. As I said, I got it on a sale. It just seemed interesting. In the past, with visual novels, I've kind of been attracted to art styles and different things like that. Like with one of the first ones I ever read was The House in Fata Morgana, and in that case I was purely attracted just to the artwork that I saw in the various screenshots. And so this had a kind of interesting aesthetic, at least from what I could tell. I've tried not to read much ahead. By that I mean I didn't look like at the store page. I didn't I just know some of the very basics. I know it's going to be psychological horror, thriller, something like that. But I honestly don't know precisely what kind of visual novel this is going to be, if there's going to be lots of choices, or if it's just going to be something you read along with. Either way, I'm excited to see how it goes. If there's anyone watching that would like to let me know if the sound is off, if I'm too quiet, or if the game is too loud, or, you know, whichever combination of things is out of whack, I would appreciate someone letting me know. In any case, I think I will try to keep some notes, but again, I don't know how in-depth this game's going to be, if that sort of thing will be necessary or not. And in terms of horror, I tend not to do very well with horror. It's a bit of a weakness of mine, so I'll be curious to see how well I can handle this. I don't know how this horror will be, or what kind of horror, but I'm excited to find out. So without further ado, I think we're ready to start this. Let's see. It looks like I'm recording. Looks like everything's alright. Alright, let's begin Raging Loop. Oh, this is interesting. Not what I expected. And I wonder if there's gonna be... I guess there's voice acting. That's always a good sign.
ようこそノベルアドベンチャーゲームレイジングループの世界へ
Okay. I will have to say, it looks like this is gonna be, you know, it's obviously Japanese. I do not speak Japanese, not even a little bit, so I will ask for your patience if I get some of the names, either the people's names or names of places. If I get that wrong, I think that's just probably going to happen, but I'll try to correct if that ends up being the case. We got a log here, that's good, an auto skip menu, yeah, looks good.
私は単なるドルに足らないインターフェース的キャラクターです。そうですね。リカコとでもお呼びください。
Rikako. Okay, nice to meet you.
ここでは初めてプレイなさる皆様にこのゲームの遊び方を簡単にご説明いたしたいと存じます。
I would appreciate it, thank you.
いくつか変わったところのあるゲームですので、最初はぜひとも全部の説明をお読みいただきたいと思います。
Okay, I'm ready to learn. Let me hear it.
特に動画配信をなさる方は4、動画やシェアについてだけでも 必ずお読みくださいね。
Okay.
最後まで読んでいただけたら私のセクシーな画像が見られません。世間は厳しゅうございます。さめざめ。
That's very sad, yes.
さて、何からご説明いたしましょう。
Let's start with this. Let me hear it.
レイジングループはノベルゲーム。物語や展開やオチはとても大事。
I would imagine so, yeah.
ですから、それらすべてを配信されてしまいますと、とても困ってしまいます。さめざめ、さめざめ。かといって、お楽しみは大勢で分け合いたいもの。それは重々承知しております。というわけで、私どもは動画配信していただける範囲を設定しております。
Okay.
ちなみにその範囲は、最初のメインルート丸ごと1本、プラスアルファ。具体的には、シナリオチャート上の4、潜入の9、入村方法は、で、選択肢が出るまでが配信可能範囲です。
For infiltration Q entering the village. Let me, The choice at for infiltration Q entering the village.
相当な長さがございますので、配信のネタにしばらく困ることはないと保証いたします。むしろ全文読み上げる派の配信主様は喉が潰れないか心配です。無理はなさらずゆったりお楽しみくださいね。ちなみに動画配信の折にはお知らせ機能をぜひともご利用くださいませ。
What is the reminder function?
この後現れる選択肢でお知らせ機能をオンにしていただいた場合、動画配信終了のタイミングで突然謎の羊が出現。ここまでよとお知らせいたします。
Is that, where is that on here? Is that in the options? Ooh, let's not look at that yet. Help. Base controls. Chart. Huh. Okay. I want to see. No? Please use the reminder function. I do not know where this reminder function is. I would like to use it. Okay, there's that. Title goes back most likely. Don't know what next is or keys.
そこで収録はお開きとしていただき、あとは考察やら議論やらをお楽しみいただければ幸いの極みでございます。
Is he gonna pop up multiple times or just once?
ちなみに今はオフの状態ですよ。
Oh, here we go. Sure.
はい、オンにいたしました。また切り替えたいときは0導入のここに来てくださいね。
I see. Okay. So will it... Let me read that again. Okay, let's go just about the game.
レイジングループはノベルアドベンチャーゲームというジャンルでございます。小説のように文章で物語が綴られ、読んで楽しむゲームです。世に言う人狼ゲームと深く関係する物語ではありますが、人狼ゲームそのものではないのでご注意を。
Interesting.
スーパー人工知能リカコ20人と永遠の人狼ゲームを楽しめるとご期待された方、すみません。ざめざめ。もちろんただの小説ではございません。時折現れる選択肢によって物語が変化する。キャラクターたちが生き生きと描写され、生き生きとボイスをしゃべります。せっかくの声をお楽しみになるためや、突如絶叫が響き渡らないためにイヤホンなどされるのも良いかと。
Well, it just so happens I am, so you know, that's
とっ
good.
ても大ボリュームな物語ですので、没頭しすぎて数日徹夜なんてことになるやも。
Obscenely
くださいね。
lengthy, you say. That's interesting.
なお、もうご存知かと思いますが、レイジングループは架空の殺人事件、恐怖事件を扱ったお話です。サスペンス、スリラー、ホラー、そして謎に挑み解決するお話がお好きなあなたにぴったりの物語。もちろんこの物語は作り事で、実際の人物や団体や思想や事件などとは
Yeah,
一
just
切
gotta
関係がございません。
get that out of the way there.
作中の学問知識、歴史、宗教、神話、科学、医学等の知識は創作を含みます。テストに書いたら0点です。さめざめ。
I see. Okay, so there's gonna be fabricated stuff here.
そして描かれる犯罪や惨劇については現実のそんな行為を推奨する意図など
Well,
全くございません。
that's good to hear.
そんな感じで現実との区別をしっかりおつけになったらもう大丈夫。本作を思いっきり楽しんでくださいね。
Okay. Special functions.
レイジングループの独特な機能について説明いたしますね。レイジングループのストーリーは複雑に分岐しております。どう分岐したのか管理するのは大変かもしれません。でも心配無用。本作ではシナリオチャートという便利機能が採用されています。メニューを開けばチャートという機能にいつでもアクセスでき、そこからシナリオの全図が見られるのです。さらにこのシナリオチャートを使えば入ったことのあるチャプターにいつでもどこでもどこからでも移動が可
So
能。
I've seen something like this fairly recently, actually. So I think I understand that.
もう選択肢では必ずセーブとは申しません。これでいつでも選択肢は選び直せますので、ご心配。シナリオチャート機能についてはまた後でもう一度使いどころの説明がありますので、よくわからなくても大丈夫ですよ。
She keeps pausing, at natural points, and I think it's over, but yeah.
次にキーについて。
Okay, this was in the menu as well.
レイジングループの物語分岐はすべて選択肢を選んだ瞬間に発生いたします。後から聞くものは存在しません。その代わりいくつかの選択肢はキーと呼ばれる特定の情報がないと開くことができません。
Interesting. I wonder if this also applies to another game I'm playing at the moment. Interesting.
このキーを探すことこそレイジングループの大きな目的だと言えるでしょう。その探し方は実際に手に入った時に説明があるそうですのでご心配なく。
Okay.
ちなみに一度キーを入手して解放されたルートはセーブデータと関係なく開きっぱなしになります。
Starting to sound a bit
逆に
complicated.
言うと、キーが未入手の状態にはロードしても戻れません。
Oh, so it's a permanent thing, huh?
それで読めなくなる文章はありませんので、あまり困ることはないと思いますが、ご承知くださいね。キーがない状態に戻して遊びたいという奇特なお方には、全データを初期化する手もあります。ご利用は計画的に。
Okay. I guess I'm a bit confused on this whole videos and sharing section. He talked about doing the main route or something, and that... but I guess how are you to know the main route if you're able to branch out and do separate things? Well, I have that, I have the sheep. I have the whatever that is, so presumably it does. I don't really need to know that. It'll tell me. So standard functions.
独特な機能に加え、レイジングループにはノベルゲームとして基本的な機能が一通り揃っています。テキストウィンドウを隠す、バックログ、ロード、セーブ、既読文章のスキップ、次の選択肢までスキップ。
Fair enough.
ロードやセーブはだいたい普通の仕組みです。オートセーブ機能もあるにはありますが、新しいチャプターに入るたびにセーブするだけなので、頻繁にはセーブされません。霧のいいところまで読むか、シナリオチャートをご利用いただくか、手動セーブを活用してくださいね。
Okay.
次にオプション設定について、メニューから開けるオプション設定からは、
Yes.
音量調整やテキスト表
Yes.
ただ全
Fairly
部説
fairly
明す
average
る
simple
と
things.
皆様がお眠になってしまわれるので、あとは他の説明書きや誰かさんの追加説明をお読みください。
Someone.
お願いいたしますね、誰かさん。
Who's that? Ah, the aforementioned sheep. I see. Okay, so interesting. So a couple things give me pause. This is the first time I've known about this. I know that there are visual novels that exist out there where the creators, they either forbid or they limit the amount you are allowed to show online, or they request that you do not show online. I don't know if there's any, if they'll specifically, if they would say I went past the point they told me, if I would do that, would they specifically contact me, or someone would, or I don't know. I don't know what the procedure would be for that. But this is the first time I've actually run into that since I've started, so that's interesting. She says it was a large amount, and she said that this game is obscenely long, which, like, how long is obscenely long? Because if we're talking visual novels, I think the longest one I've ever read was probably Umineko, and that one was very long. So are we talking Umineko length, or what? Not sure. But it does, as I said, it gives me kind of pause, at least the part about this videos and sharing part. Because I guess that means there's just going to have to be a time where I have to stop. And obviously, I could continue on my own, which I probably would do. But it just kind of feels like a shame that I wouldn't be able to experience the rest in the same sort of format. But maybe that's for the best. So I guess the idea would be I'd play the game up to a certain point, and then after that I can make some theories and talk about what I think, and basically, give my whole opinion on it. And then what? Would I play the rest by myself and obviously I wouldn't show that, but would I be allowed to make an extra video where I give my thoughts on it? Is that kosher? Is that allowable? I wonder. If there's anyone who knows more about that and would like to let me know, I would very much appreciate it. But I guess I'll go through it with it. Yeah, that I'm a bit nervous about that, but you know, I guess we'll deal with it. You know, this is all for spooky month, so I guess it'll be enough. Yeah, let's at least start this. Let's go ahead.
とても長くなってしまいました。ここまでお読みいただき、
Well, that's
誠
fine.
にありがとう存じます。
You gave me some good information. I'm glad to know that.
それでは、いよいよ物語の始まりです。
So keys are information, huh? Interesting.
限りなく濃い霧と血煙の向こう。繰り返される絶望と悲嘆の果て。人狼村の真実をどうかその目でご覧くださいませ。
Werewolf Village.
ペコリ。
5:11 Sunday, presumably. Okay. I closed in on the side of the road and killed the engine. It was steeper than I'd thought. My bike was on the verge of giving out, so I pushed down and deployed the kickstand. Well, I'm lost. Who's this guy? Is this our protagonist right here? Has a motorcycle. Looks pretty cool. Alright. Maybe taking a ride down an unknown road with no sat-nav on me wasn't such a good idea. Sat-nav. I just followed the road, so I'd figured I wouldn't get lost, but now I was in some deep shit. Ooh, okay, I guess there's, as well as there being horror, I guess there's going to have to be a language warning. So, be prepared for that, I suppose. Nah, cool it. This isn't a big deal. I sighed, took note of the fact that I'd gotten lost in my pocket journal, and then pulled out a map. Suddenly, a rush of memories flitted into my mind. Okay. So, wow. So, immediate choice, but it appears not to be a choice at all. We appear to need key number 4. Interesting. Otherwise, yeah, we don't even know. Okay. It did say Werewolf Village. I'm assuming there may be, well, I don't know yet. I don't know if there's gonna be supernatural, if there's going to be some sort of supernatural events going on, or if that's going to be a question in the game, like, is it supernatural, or is it someone pretending it is, or who knows? Interesting. Let's just forget it for now. Obviously not that important. I somehow kept myself from remembering those things. After all, I'd gone on this trip to forget. Ooh, someone with a history, with a past here.
も
Haruaki Fusaishi. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna need someone to say his name.
うやめやめ 目の前の現実を直視。人生はシンプル。つまりこの道のごとく、真っ暗で道案内もなく、進むか返すか。考えることはそれだけ。
Fair enough. Going back wasn't an option in this case, so I just moved forward. Still, I wanted to know where I was, at least, so I looked down at my map. It was all Greek to me. Last time I'd seen a sign, it was still light out, meaning that I'd gotten lost after the sun had set. Sure, it was my own fault for just guessing which intersections I'd been passing through, and that had taken me 2 hours to conclude that I was lost. Crazy to think that just 2 hours of aimless driving got me almost completely surrounded by mountains. Can I... Is there a way to... text? I think this is the option. Can I make it go a bit faster? Let's try a bit faster. That's a bit better, I think. They extended as far as the eye could see. If you flipped the scenery upside down and shook it, it's unlikely even a shred of civilization would tumble out. Besides the asphalt below, my sweet ride, and the lamppost above, the first one in a while, mind you, there was nothing man-made here. The pocket map I had wasn't detailed enough for me to figure out where I was.
進むか。
I'd go as far as I could. Worst comes to worst, I could just camp at the side of the road. Two hours later, I deeply regretted ever thinking that. Basically, camping wasn't an option. This mountain road had no side to camp on. A dump truck I'd passed barely even fit on it. You probably should have flagged him down and asked for directions. I'd also had my first close encounters with wild forest animals. I'd already seen 2 boars and 3 deer in those 2 hours alone. One of the deer had run parallel to my bike while intently staring at me. I had no idea what to think of that. I'd felt like it could smell my fear, and did it just to make it worse. How dare the thing do that to a human? We're the kings of this planet, damn it. I'd have to remember to eat some venison once I'm back in civilization. Anyway, camping out here was a bad idea. I'd either end up as roadkill or animal food. And yet, I didn't back out. Why? Because I'm a pretty warped sort of guy, and I won't pretend otherwise. That was actually the reason why my once comfortable relationship had gone awry, and why I'd gone on this stupid trip. Still, despite acknowledging that, I chose to keep moving forward. It wasn't like I'd find a place to stay if I went back. I was actually starting to think that this experience might make a good conversation piece sometime down the road. It was really getting late at this point. Where would these roads take me, anyway? It'd probably be disappointing. Soon enough, the road became flat. I was out of the mountain pass. The forest remained abundant, though, so I still didn't see much. Even so, the street lights and signs were enough to make me feel I was nearing civilization. Was street lights the right expression for lights in the forest? I'd have to look that up. As the road grew less rugged, I realized just how exhausted I was. All this bike handling left my hands really sore, too. I really had to rest. Suddenly, I saw something unexpected. Powerful, colorful, artificial lights. A convenience store? Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was next to an intersection between the road I was on and another, even thinner road that could probably support only a single car. The sea of trees ended, giving room for the majestic child of our consumerist society. Yeah, that was an exaggeration. Apparently, even a damn store was a big deal for someone who'd just stepped out of the wild. It was called Fresh Mark? Fresh Marquee? Not sure what they're going for there. I'd seen several of them a few times during the day. It was probably a local franchise. The building didn't look all that old. At least, the parking lot looked a lot smoother compared to the roads. This was a pretty weird place to build something like that, though. Was I close to a settlement? Or did they actually make a profit off lost travelers? I'd just ask that or something. A local shopkeep was bound to know what was around these parts, not to mention I was thirsty. I was welcomed by a weird chime sound. It looked like a normal convenience store. There were goods on the shelves, a counter on the left, and... Whoa. The worker at the counter was so mean-looking it was scary. She was so imposing I wouldn't have doubted if someone told me she was in charge of some ladies' army corps. What, was that supposed to be a greeting? It was so damn cold it actually gave me chills. Was this store shadier than it appeared? Was I about to be stupidly overcharged? Was this how this place made a profit? By taking advantage of lost people and basically beating them out of their money? Shit, that was scary. Clearly, the Wonderland had only just begun. Woohoo! I sure was excited for the beating. I grew more nervous and less enthusiastic by the second. I braced myself, but she just looked down at the magazine in her hands. Oh, so she was just a slacker. Slightly disappointed, I walked around the store. It was about what you'd expect. There was a small shelf with energy drinks, followed by some stationaries, travel goods, sanitary stuff, etc. There were sweets that came with toys, a shelf with cup ramen and dried food, a fridge, a freezer. It all looked normal. It was late, so the daily dish and packed lunch section was completely empty. The only special thing about this place was the section full of unpacked vegetables you'd expect to see at a greengrocer's. Maybe all rural convenience stores were like this. I was slightly surprised by that, but there weren't any local fine foods or anything, so all in all, it was an unremarkable store. If you ignored the clerk, anyway. I took a drink and brought it to the register. Yep, she really was the highlight of this place. What kind of clerk smokes while dealing with a customer? Yes, I was actually buying. She was the clerk, and I'd be her god, the customer.
126 円
She didn't even scan it. This exchange was at the mercy of the clerk. God is dead. Maybe I had to get mad at her?
ちょっといいですか？
あ？
実は道に迷ってしまって。
I quickly turned meek.
町はどっちにあるでしょうか？
あっち。
いや、できれば地図とか。
ない。
Man, this woman.
いや、そんなはずはないでしょ。コンビニなんて大体道聞かれるから、地図は常備してるもんでしょ。
知らねえよ。ないもんはねえ。おとなしく来た道戻れよ。
もう数時間迷ってるもんで、これ以上はちょっと。
その辺の床で寝てけば。
She had to be joking.
いや、お気持ちだけでいいんで、道だけちゃんと教えていただけたら。
ああ、もう、せえな。待ってろ。
The clerk put out her smoke in the ashtray and went to the staff-only area. She came back in no time.
あったわ。
She did have a map. Of course she did. Even more ill-tempered than usual, the clerk started giving an explanation.
これがこの店。で、十字路を北へ行け。しばらくしたら立教があっから渡れ。最初の分岐のとこに大岩があっからそこを右折してあとは直線。
この道？
んだよ。
いや、この先何もなくないです？
書かれてねえだけで集落があんだよ。
そこ以外なら？
富士吉村まで行くには峠道を2時間。 こっちなら30分で着く。
Fujiyoshi seemed to be a village. It didn't look too far away, but the road leading to it was a huge branching mess. It was clearly just a paved mountain pass. I'd had enough of those for one day. I'd probably just get lost again.
じゃあこっち行ってみます。ありがとうございます。
金
はい。
払ってねえだろ。
ああ、じゃあ500円。
Ding Russell Jingle.
なぜお釣りを無断で募金箱に入れるんですか？
小銭多いとうぜえだろ。
That was a hell of a line. I casually thanked her, grabbed the plastic bottle of tea, she didn't give me a bag by the way, and left the store. I drank the tea in the parking lot and looked up at the moon, obscured by clouds, but still bright enough to outshine the light of the convenience store. The clerk put me in a bad mood, though, so I didn't enjoy the sight. I threw the bottle into a nearby trash can and aggressively drove away. Following the directions, I crossed the overpass and arrived at the first fork in the road. The byway she'd told me about was really narrow. I probably wouldn't have noticed it if it weren't for the tall boulder standing there like a roadside shrine for some traveler deity. Turning carefully, I got on the road. A minute later, I found myself in an even worse wilderness than before. A veil of dead leaves covered the ground, tall grass sided the path, and the sky above was blocked by overgrown shrubs, making it feel like I was passing a wooden tunnel. The road itself was a huge red flag. It was a wonder why I didn't just turn around. The exchange from before might have pissed me off more than I thought. Still, I really didn't expect the road to just end. It happened about 15 minutes in. The view ahead suddenly turned strangely dark, and a split second later the bike tipped forward. Uh-oh. I reflexively hit the brakes, but it was too late. I started going down a cliff. My bike tilted downwards, and its suspension was put to the greatest test yet, as we basically tumbled to the bottom. The headlight suddenly shone on some dirt and grass. I knew then that I'd be flung out of my seat. Stifling a scream, I tried to work some steering and brake magic to slow down the collapsing. Stifling a scream, I tried to work some steering and brake magic to slow down without collapsing. But that was too big a task for a simple road bike. At the bottom of the cliff, it jumped higher than ever before. The suspension couldn't handle the impact, and I was launched into the air. A moment later, I heard a crash and felt an impact, after which came an unpleasant pain. I'm hoping you were wearing your helmet during that. An accident where I was flung out like that was a first for me. The launch was really something too. I did a 360 in the air and fell on my back. My breathing stopped for a moment, and the pain was so bad I thought all my bones shattered. My face and limbs seemed pretty fine at least, though I wasn't sure if that counted as a silver lining. There was grass under my hands. I felt it even through the gloves. That and the smell of green made it pretty clear what I landed on. I pushed down. My hands sunk. This grass growth was pretty hefty. It was probably the reason why I came out relatively okay. Man, so she gave us, the clerk, gave us directions to this place, and didn't even feel the need to mention about the cliff? That's, there's being, I don't know what it would be. There's being, upset at a customer. Like, I get it. Working retail sucks. No doubt about that. But, I mean, that's almost like sending him to possible death if he wasn't wearing a helmet or something like that. And that just seems actively malicious at that point. So there's having a chip on your shoulder, and then there's just being malicious, which if this was the path she indicated and she didn't let us know there was a dang cliff here, that seems more malicious, certainly. Sure, my joints creaked when I stood up, but aside from that, I was fine. It was really dark, so I couldn't really confirm it, but I'm pretty sure I wasn't even bleeding. My bike, however, wasn't nearly as lucky. It was lying on its side a short distance ahead. The engine was still on. The back wheel kept turning, making an unpleasant, fricative noise. Yep, it was busted. I walked up, killed the engine, and took the key. With the headlights off, I was surrounded by absolute darkness, so I just stood and waited until my eyes adjusted. I still couldn't see very clearly, but it looked like it wasn't actually a cliff. I was still on a road, it just wasn't paved beyond this point. Interesting, so it wasn't a cliff. Huh. Obviously, a road bike stood no chance against an unpaved road. I guess if it was a cliff, he probably would have gotten a lot more wounded than he is. This was my thought. Yes, that woman actually tried to kill me. Zigzagging through the Zigzagging through the trees, I followed the narrow footpath deeper into the forest. I tried getting my bike up and running again, but instantly gave up. It was partially stuck in the mud, so there was the risk of it slipping and getting me into another accident. Maybe I had to turn around? The moment I considered that, I thought I saw a faint light ahead. If that woman wasn't lying, this road led to a settlement. Was I close? I reached into my jacket's pocket, took out my phone, and opened it up. As you'd expect, I was out of range. I ran the light app and shone a light to see better. Though weak, it was better than nothing. At the very least, it helped me watch where I was going. I had no idea how long I'd been walking for, but sure enough, I could see a light beyond the shrubs. It was weaker than I expected. A flashlight, perhaps? I could hear water, too. I might have been near a river.
すいません
This guy seems pretty young, so 20s, 20-something, I'd guess. Young, maybe early 20s, at least. Going by the artwork and his voice, at least, that's kind of the sense I'm getting. I raised my voice.
すいません誰かいませんか
Maybe even, I guess you could even get away saying he may be a teenager or something, but yeah. Young adult. Still declaring my presence, I walked forward. It was late at night. Were I to bump into someone here, the scare would probably take away a few years off their lives. That was why I figured it best. Sorry. That was why I figured it was best for us both to let the other know we were here before that happened. However, there was no response. Could they not hear me over the rapids?
すいません
I shone my light ahead and realized I'd made it to an opening. Sure enough, there was a river. Or a stream, rather. I could see slightly more than I had while surrounded by trees. Straining my eyes, I saw a rocky river beach in the shallows. The light I'd seen was on the other side. From what I could tell, it was either a lantern or a flashlight, and it was close to the ground. I didn't see any people, though. No one responded to my shouting, either. I wasn't excited about it, but I decided to step into the water. The cold water quickly soaked my shoes and socks. I could have taken them off, but I'd figured that crossing a river barefooted at midnight was a bad idea. But man, was it cold. I put my phone back in my jacket. I needed both my hands free in case I fell. Not stopping or backing down, I walked toward the light. It suddenly became deeper. The water reached my knees now. I was too close for comfort. Feeling the bottom with my toes and balancing myself, I somehow avoided losing my footing. The flow was fiercer than I'd expected. If I slipped and fell, I'd probably be washed away. It suddenly hit me that I was doing something really weird, but it was too late to back down. Putting my hands on the boulders and carefully checking what I was stepping on, I gradually made it to the other side. Then, with an unpleasant wet sound in my every step, I walked up to the light. I could already see it clearly. Yep, it was a flashlight. lying on the ground for some reason. Huh. Like a big kind of work flashlight. There wasn't much space here. It was a narrow riverbank with a cliff right beside it. As you'd expect, I didn't see or sense anyone nearby. What the hell? Though old, the flashlight was working fine. The strength of the light told me the battery was pretty full. That meant that someone was actually using this tonight. Or rather, until just a few moments ago. That was the most logical conclusion. It obviously wasn't left here yesterday afternoon or evening. And yet, the user was nowhere in sight. And I was near a river. Did something bad happen? Did the flashlight's owner step into the stream and get swept away? That was the most likely and worst possible scenario. Why do you say most likely? However, the flashlight was left there practically buried into the pebbles. It didn't seem like someone placed it there to light things. Oh, so it's right on the boundary of where the stream is, so like right next to the stream. I think I see why. Okay. It was the dead of night. There was no way you wouldn't notice dropping your flashlight when it was so dark. Right. The fact that a light source was left in a place like this was strange by itself. With that considered, what was going on here? What if someone heard my stupid shouting and decided to lure me in with a light so they could ambush me? Where would they attack from? Above?
こんばんは。
I heard a voice the moment I looked up. The rock cliff was actually made up of several boulders. There was a face peeking out from behind one of them.
こんばんは。
ああ、人だ。びっくりした。
That was my line.
悪いんだけど、それ取ってもらえます？
The voice was feminine. I finally realized what was going on.
落としたってわけですか。
I picked up the flashlight and pointed it at the source of the voice.
やん。
Alrighty, I think we're at least two so far. Two of the people that were on the main menu screen, I think, so far. High-pitched voice, slender hands shielding the light. Sure enough, it was a young woman.
眩しいな。
お、失礼。ちなみに、こっちはこういうものですが。
怖いです。下から照らさない。
実は、当方道に迷っており。
だとすると、割と究極的に迷ってますよ。
Yep, thought as much.
ここって、人里です。
難しい質問だな。
とりあえず、助けてもらえないかと。
助ける？
雨露しのげて、野生動物がいなければ何でもいいんで。
Don't forget your bike, too. Standing on a boulder, the young woman made a pensive face.
じゃあ、打ち来ます？
And that was the conclusion she'd arrived at. Her face told me she was 100% serious. By my place, by that, surely she meant a house, a settlement.
いいんです。頼んどいてなんですが、遠慮を忘れてすがりたい程度には切羽詰まってるんですが。
え？男として？
ええ。いや違う。一個の生命として。数時間迷った挙句、バイクでこけて、心身ともに限界ってわけです。
あらら。なら、見捨てるのもどうよって感じじゃないです？一個の生命として。
And so I was saved. Oh, the beauty of living beings looking out for each other.
じゃあ手、いいです？
ん？
ここ、一人じゃ登れないでしょ？
True. Honestly, I didn't even realize I'd have to. Meeting another person filled me with relief, which was followed by a sudden wave of fatigue. It wasn't crippling, though. She extended her left hand, so I grabbed it with my own left. Her slender fingers were stronger than expected. The girl's name was, and again, pardon me, Chiemi Serizawa? I asked if she was related to the Shinsengumi guy, but she said that her family just adopted the name at some point in the Meiji period. Doesn't ring a bell for me. She was a 21-year-old who went to college far away from here. This was her hometown, and she was spending her post-exam vacation here. We chatted about stuff like that once she'd let me out of that rocky ravine. It was actually a proper path, so the rock climbing was pretty pointless, but I was too focused on my footing to comment. She told me about herself as soon as we reached solid ground.
ちなみにそちらは？
名前は房石春明。東京で大学院生やってます。
Okay, I got Fusaishi, but this was very quick. Haruaki? Just very quick like that, Haruaki? Fusaishi Haruaki, something like that. So both of them are college students.
あ、じゃあちょっと年上。
24だから、
Yeah.
芹沢さんと3つ違いかな。でもまあ、同世代でしょ。
I'd agree to that.
ちえみでいいですよ。敬語とかもいらないです。
じゃあ僕も、呼び捨てタメ口がいいな。
ですか？
女の子に親しくされてるみたいで、嬉しいからね。
なるほど。実は私も堅苦しいの苦手なんで、じゃあ遠慮なく。
So I guess we're leaving the bike. Obviously we can't lug that thing up a rocky climb like we just did, and he's probably pretty fatigued at this point. So I guess we're just gonna have to remember where we left it.
どうぞどうぞ。ちなみにまだ結構遠い？
そうでもないかな。もう5分くらい頑張りましょい。
What a lively girl. You could tell she was used to people.
ただ足元に気をつけて、明かりだけ見て。
何かあるの？
この辺石ころだらけで危ないんだ。
The moment she said that, I stumbled on a rock too big to be called a pebble.
あと今夜はずいぶん暗いしね。
I couldn't even see the moon anymore. Nodding in agreement, I focused on following the light in her hand.
ちょっと待っててもらえます？着替えちゃうんで。
And so, I did just that. So, obviously, we're very early on. But, what I do know in the game, it's psychological horror thriller, so, I'm instantly gonna be in a certain state of mind reading this, right? So my first question is, what was she doing out this late by the stream? Because you never know. You never know who's gonna turn out to be the big bad. And I think what would it be? The tutorial lady? What was her? Rikoka? I don't remember. Tutorial lady. She said that the game was loosely inspired on Werewolf and Mafia, and I think I do know what game she's referring to. I think it's the one where everyone takes a role in a town, but it can be one or more people are secretly murderers, essentially. But it said very loosely based, so I probably shouldn't draw any concrete facts from that. Like, say, number of murderers. There could just be one or more, Nothing's happened yet, so I have nothing to analyze as of yet. So we'll see how it goes, I guess. Given this was a mountain settlement, I'd expected some old wooden house, but she actually lived in an apartment block. How big is this town? It was too dark to get a good look at. All I could see were the cheap-looking walls, like you'd expect from some old boarding house for students. Also, she lived on the second floor, in room 202. let's start taking notes. I think I might call it here. I don't know if this game has chapters as such. Haruaki Fusaishi and Chiemi Serizawa. Okay. Lives in room 202, apartment building. Okay. Yeah, my throat's getting a bit sore, and I think I'll call it here. We'll how about that? We'll save there. Yeah, okay, we'll stop there, I think. Usually, so far, my kind of goal for how I've been doing things in my Let's Plays has been under an hour, you know? So, pretty much anywhere between half an hour and an hour is kind of where I want to keep my videos for. So I think this is a good time to stop. So yeah, next time I'll probably recap for my own sake. But if there's anyone who's watching this and they could let me know audio-wise how the, what the balance is like, if I'm too loud or too soft, or the game's too loud or too soft. And if, I think I had another question. Yeah, I guess I have a question regarding the video sharing thing. I understand that there's a certain part of the game I have to stop at, and then I could, theorize and everything. But if there's anyone who knows, would I be able to say when I beat the game, come back and then have just a discussion about it? Not actually show it, but obviously that'd still be spoilers, but it would kind of be clearly marked as such. I don't want to... If there's doubt that I can do that, I probably just won't do it. I don't want to mess with their rules or anything like that. So, but if someone knows and would be willing to let me know, I would greatly appreciate it. Otherwise, yeah, I just have to finish the game in my own time. Okay, so, yeah, as I said, I'll recap a bit next time, and I'll talk about how I feel about the characters so far. We've only got 2, really. So, we'll just see how this goes. I'm interested. I'm interested to see just where this goes and how this horror will be. So, until next time, I've been The Worm, and this is Raging Loop. Hope to see you next time.